Good morning to you, geometry students. Welcome to class on, excuse me, on Tuesday the 11th. Tuesday the 10th. I apologize. I hope you guys are having a good week so far this week, and hope you're ready to learn some math today. Let's see. Your quizzes were passed back to you. No, they were not. Your quizzes were not passed back to you yesterday. My voice is a little raspy. Excuse me. Martin still has to take his quiz, so those will not be passed back until he has done that. You can go to Sycamore if you would like to see what grade you've made. Let me give you some quick announcements here. This Friday we will have a test, and thus that means we will have a review sheet on Thursday, so keep that in mind. You owe me yesterday's homework at this time, so please pass that in now. On Monday, yesterday, you did homework during the class period, and so please turn that in now. I've been calling parents a lot about missing assignments, and I will keep doing that. I hope none of you miss graduation because of this class, but if that happens, I really won't feel any guilt. I have contacted parents over and over and over, and I will continue to do so. And you need to do your homework. You need to practice the homework. It's good for you whether you like it or not, and you need to turn it in, or you're going to get behind and not do well, okay? I love y'all enough to tell you the truth, and that is just the truth. So please get your missing assignments turned in. Martin, you have a quiz I would like you to take by Wednesday, and so please keep that in mind. And then lastly, if you don't finish the video in class today, finish it tonight. Now the good news is I'm not going to jam you guys. There's no way I can do that. This lesson today is huge, so there's no homework tonight. So tomorrow when you come into class on Wednesday, I will give you a homework assignment, and tomorrow you will do nothing but work on homework. But before you get too excited and start cheering, today's lesson is going to be a killer. It's so long you might have to finish it tonight at home. Now here's why it's so hard to predict. It's hard to predict because some of you take longer when you write sentences down and notes down and examples and stuff like that. And so it's just really hard to tell how long it will take you to pause the video, to write stuff down, and then get started again. So my voice is really raspy, so please excuse that. Excuse me for a second. Okay, I guess I'll be drinking a lot of water during this video. Anyway, so long video. If you don't finish it in class, you need to finish it tomorrow, or excuse me, at home when you go home tonight. And tomorrow you will do your homework in class. Okay? Students, love y'all, care about you. Let's get to work and work really hard today. Today's lesson, by the way, is pretty difficult, so please have your brains in gear. I would like you to write down this heading: if-then statements and deductive reasoning. Lesson 2.5. If-then statements and deductive reasoning, lesson 2.5. Now, I am going to go fast on purpose, and so you will be pausing the video a lot to write down sentences and notes, and that's normal. That's fine, okay? It's a lot easier for me to go that route than to sit here and try to wait for you to write it down and guess how long it takes you. So do understand that, okay? One more time: if-then statements and deductive reasoning, lesson 2.5, and today's date is the 10th. All right, here we go. Let's jump into this and see if we can't learn some math today. Okay, let's look at an example of an if-then statement. You don't need to write that down there if you don't want to, but let's look at an example of an if-then statement. Are you ready? Write this in your notes. Here it is. Write this in your notes. If the team wins the semifinal, then the team will play in the championship. That's called an if-then statement. If you give me $100, I will guarantee you'll pass the class. No, that's not true. I'm just kidding, but that would be an if-then statement, okay? So this is an example of an if-then statement. If something occurs, then something else will occur, okay? This is an if-then statement. Make note of this in your notes. The if part is always called the hypothesis, okay? That's the name that mathematicians have chosen to call the if part of the sentence. The hypothesis, okay? The then part is called the conclusion. And again, you're going to have to pause the video a lot. I know that. I'm going to keep moving. If the team wins the semifinal, that's the if part, we call that the hypothesis, then the team will play in the championship. We call that the conclusion. Now don't miss this. Write this in your notes. It's so important. A conditional statement is another name for an if-then statement. So when I tell you that we're studying if-then statements today, that's the same thing as saying we're studying conditional statements. They're the exact same thing. And I will use those two phrases interchangeably. Sometimes I'll call this expression an if-then statement, and sometimes I will call that expression a conditional statement. Let's go ahead and look at some examples where we can practice some of this information that we just learned, okay? Write this in your notes, would you please? If I pass the driving test, then I will get my driver's license. I would like you to very quickly in your notes write HIP, period, for hypothesis, and go ahead and write out the hypothesis. Do that now, please. Also, go ahead and put conclusion or CON if you want to, and go ahead and write the conclusion. Now, you should have written if I pass the driver's test right here for the hypothesis. And for the conclusion, you then should have written then I will get my driver's license. Okay? Pretty simple, not too difficult. All right, for 1 bonus point, you're on your own. Boy, talk about an easy bonus point. I want you to, I'll tell you what, instead, go ahead and write this sentence in your notes, would you please? Write this sentence in your notes. And then I want you to write the word hypothesis on top of whatever section is the hypothesis. And I want you to write the word conclusion above whatever part of this is the conclusion. Usually I have you pause the video. I'm just going to wait about 10 seconds, then go ahead and put the answers up here. I am really sorry about my throat, guys. It's going to be like this the whole video, so I apologize. Okay, the if part, if I sleep through my alarm, that is called the hypothesis. And the then part, then I will miss the school bus, is called the conclusion. Okay? Hopefully you got that right. So we're just practicing here, practicing boring, practicing going over what the hypothesis is and what the conclusion is of an if-then statement or of a conditional statement. All right, now let's go ahead. Let's try something a little different. I want you to forget, if you would please, this just for a second. I want you to go ahead and write this sentence in your notes. Every game on my computer is fun to play. And then you know what I want you to do? I want you to write this sentence in an if-then format. So go ahead, please, copy this sentence in your notes, and then go ahead and write it in an if-then format, okay? Now I'm going to kind of do this with you. All right, here we go. All right, every game on my computer is fun to play. So I want to say something if. Let's see. Every game on my computer. So if a game is on my computer, comma, then it is fun to play. Very good. There we go. Now, you know what some students do? They get it backwards, and that's wrong. They might put, if a game is fun to play, then it has to be on my computer. And that's not true. That is not true. There are plenty of fun computer games that are on someone else's computer. So make sure you get this right. every game on my computer is fun to play. So the if part is if what you know, you don't know that every game that's fun to play is on your computer. That's not true. There are other fun games on other people's computer. What you do know is every game on your computer is fun to play. So you must write, if a game is on my computer, then it is fun to play. All right? I'd like you to write this in your notes. Would you please? Please write this in your notes. I will buy the CD if it costs less than $15. Okay? I will buy the CD if it costs less than $15. Now be very careful on this one. Think about what you know for sure. I will buy the CD if it costs less than $15. So you know for sure without any hesitancy you can say, if the CD costs less than $15, that's what it says, then I'll buy it. But you know what you cannot say? You cannot say, if I bought the CD, then it was less than $15. That's not true. You might have borrowed the money from a friend. You might have, I don't know, used a credit card, whatever, I don't know. But you can't say, if I bought the CD, then it was less than 15. No, it says, I will buy the CD if, this is the conditional part, if it costs less than $15. So if the CD costs less than $15, then I'll buy it. Okay, be very careful on these. All right, let's try another one. Please write this in your notes. I know I'm doing a lot of these. Let me see how many more I have of these. Okay, 2 more. Okay. Write this in your notes, please. Every duck on the pond is hungry. Now, please listen to me, students. We know that every duck on the pond is hungry. That's a fact. So I can say, if a duck is on the pond, then it is hungry. Or then it's hungry. That's great. But you know what you can't say? You can't say, if a duck is hungry, then it's on the pond. No, there could be 1 or 2 ducks on the ground that are hungry. There could be 1 or 2 ducks in the trees that are hungry. Nowhere does this statement say that the only hungry ducks are on the pond. All that it says is every duck that is on the pond is hungry. So you must say, if a duck is on the pond, then it's hungry. Okay? This one's yours. Go ahead and try this for 1 bonus point. I want you to go ahead and pause the video at this time, and then go ahead and do this for 1 bonus point. I want you to write this as a conditional statement. Okay, I hope you did well on this. Let's see. I will go running. That's a fact if it does not snow. So you would say, if it doesn't snow, then I'll go running. One thing you cannot say is, if I went running, then it did not snow. No, nowhere does it say, listen guys, nowhere does it say that you're only going to run if it doesn't snow. You might run if it is raining. You might run if it's sunny. The only thing you know is one thing for sure. If it does not snow, then you will go running. Okay, that's all that you know. So you've got to get these in the right order and be really, really careful with these, okay? I'm trying to explain this the best that I can. I know it's not easy to see, but you need to understand this, okay? This is something you need to write in your notes, and I will quiz you on this, so please write this down. Deductive reasoning. Deductive reasoning is using facts, definitions, accepted properties, and the laws of logic to make a logical argument. Again, I know you'll have to pause this. I'm going to move on. That's fine. Inductive reasoning is using previous examples and patterns to form a conjecture. A conjecture. Okay, something you're not totally sure about, it's just a conjecture. Okay? So this is the difference between deductive and inductive reasoning. Now we're going to look at our time today, we're going to spend our time today looking at deductive reasoning. You do not need to know this bottom one that I'm crossing off for a quiz or a test coming up. Okay, you do not need to. But deductive reasoning, using facts, definitions, accepted properties, and the laws of logic to make a logical argument. Inductive reasoning, using previous examples and patterns to form a conjecture. And that's the difference between these two. Now, please understand that we are now going to look at two laws of logic, okay? Two laws of logic that come from deductive reasoning, all right? So we're going to look at two laws of logic. You really, really, really need to know these. Okay, the first one is called the law of detachment. The law of detachment. This is really, really important. The next one is the law of syllogism. This is very, very important. You need to know both of these, what they mean, and how we're going to use them. So let's study these two laws. You'll need to know this on your test this Friday, so I would encourage you to write this down. The law of detachment. If the hypothesis, that's the if part, if the hypothesis of a conditional statement occurs, then the conclusion will also occur. This is the law of detachment. If the hypothesis occurs, then the conclusion will also occur. For example, write this in your notes, please. This is very important. Write this in your notes. If you wash the cotton t-shirt in hot water, then it will shrink. So this is an if part. If you do this, then this will happen. Now look, the if part occurred. You washed the cotton t-shirt in hot water. So what would the next sentence be? The t-shirt did what? Shrunk. So here's your conditional statement. If you wash the cotton t-shirt in hot water, then it will shrink. Then I said this. Hey, the hypothesis occurred. You washed the cotton t-shirt in hot water. You did that. So then what happened? Well, then we know for sure the t-shirt shrunk. The t-shirt shrunk. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, if you... did I hit the wrong button here? Let's see, I got that in there twice. Let's see. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Okay, let's continue on. All right, let's try another one. Write this in your notes, please. Write this down. If x has a value of 7, then 2x minus 3 has a value of 11. All right? Now, write this down. X has a value of 7. So your if part occurred. It happened. If x has a value of 7, then 2x minus 3 has a value of 11. And then look, x has a value of 7. So then what can I write? I can write 2x minus 3 has a value of 11. And I know that for sure because I said right here, x has a value of 7. Okay? All right, let's continue on. All right, let's try this one. You can work ahead or watch me. If you study at least 2 hours for the test, then you will pass the test. And by the way, let me go back for a second. You know what you couldn't say back here? Look at this, please. Don't miss this. Okay. You could not say, if you wash the cotton t-shirt in water, then it will shrink. You could not write, the t-shirt shrunk. Thus, I know it was washed in hot water. No, the t-shirt could have shrunk for many other reasons. Okay? You can't say 2x minus 3 has a value of 11. So then I know for sure that x equals 7. You can't do that, guys. You can't go back and you can't go both directions. Well, sometimes you can, but you don't always know for sure that you can go both directions. Listen to this. If you study at least 2 hours for the test, then you will pass the test. Okay? You can't say, oh, you passed the test, thus you studied for at least 2 hours. No, maybe you cheated. Okay, which would be wrong. Maybe you cheated on the test, okay? But what you can say is, if you study at least 2 hours for the test, then you will pass the test. And then I'm going to put this. I'm going to use, let's use a random name. John. We'll say, John studied at least 2 hours. Okay, so if you study at least 2 hours for the test, then you'll pass the test. John studied at least 2 hours. So what could I say then about John? John will pass the test. This is called the Law of Detachment. The Law of Detachment. All right, you passed the test. You studied for at least 2 hours. Now let's take a look at Law of Syllogism. Okay? Law of Syllogism. This is really, really, really important. I'm not going to give you a definition on this, okay, students, but I am going to give you some examples, and I really, really hope you'll take some good notes and allow these examples to make some sense to you, okay? All right. Watch how the law of syllogism works. Are you ready? Watch. If the daily high temperature is 32 degrees, it should be or less. In fact, I'm going to very quickly right now fix that. There we go. If the daily high temperature is 32 degrees or less, then the water in the pipes is frozen. If the water in the pipes is frozen, then the pipe will break. Now, before I show you what I want you to do here, do you see the pattern here? If something happens, then this will happen. And do you see this then part right here? Do you see that? Notice how the next conditional or if-then statement starts with that. Then the water in the pipes is frozen. If the water in the pipes is frozen, then the pipe will break. All right? Now here's what the law of syllogism allows you to do. Watch this carefully, please. It says this. If the daily high temperature is 32 or less, then the water in the pipes is frozen. If the water in the pipes is frozen, then the pipe will break. So we have, if the temperature is low, then the water freezes. If the water freezes, the pipes break. So you know what I can do? I can take the if part from this sentence, and I can put it with the then part down here. I can say, if the daily, I'm being a little sloppy, I know that, if the daily temperature is 32 degrees or less, then the pipe will break. Okay, let's go over this again. Well, I'm going to go really fast. If the daily high temperature is 32 or less, then the water in the pipes is frozen. If the water in the pipes is frozen, then the pipe will break. So if this gives you this, and then this gives you this, then you can definitely state, if the daily high temperature is 32 or less, then the pipe will break. Now that might not be true, you know, but my point is that's called the law of syllogism. If implies this, and then you take what's implied and you put it here, and then it implies something else, then you know you can take this if part and write it with this then part down there. All right, let's take a look at another example. You can work ahead or watch me. If the ball is thrown at the window, it will hit the window. If the ball hits the window, then the window will break. Do you see how this is the if part, and here's the then part, and then we take this then part, hit the window, and I say if the ball hits the window, then the window will break. Okay, this is an example. Again, we can use the law of syllogism here because we have this if part implying this, and then this part here is written as an if part implying this. Then I can take my if part from here and write it with my then part down here. If the ball is thrown at the window, if the ball is thrown at the window, and then use this then part down here, then the window will break. All right? This is called the law of syllogism. Okay, for one bonus point, I want you to go ahead and pause the video and then work this out. I want you to see if you can come up with a statement from these two statements here. See if you can come up with a sentence down here like we did here and like we did here. Okay, hopefully you had enough time to do that. Let's go ahead and take a look at the answer. If Naomi saves enough money, then she'll buy a concert ticket. If she buys a concert ticket, then she'll see her favorite team play. I'm not sure why it says concert here. I guess I messed up. Make that sports ticket. How's that? Sports ticket. Sports ticket. Okay, if Naomi saves enough money, then she'll buy a sports ticket. If she buys a sports ticket, then she'll see her favorite team play. So I'm going to say if Naomi saves enough money, so I took this part and I'm going to put it with the then part down here. If Naomi saves enough money, then she can see her favorite team play. Okay, now that's it, guys. That's the law of syllogism. If Naomi has enough, saves enough money, then she can see her favorite team play. I need you to really, really, really work hard at understanding this. Please don't get discouraged. I'll tell you something else. Tomorrow when you come in here, we're going to do a bunch of homework together on this, okay? So enjoy the no homework. We're going to do homework tomorrow during class, and then a review sheet on Thursday and a test on Friday, okay? Have a good rest of the day.